That's not, that's whoever's speaking, I will turn to them.
You should be good to go,
Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you very much. I want to welcome everybody to the Town Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for September 27th, 2023. If everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next thing on our agenda is a roll call and seating of any alternates. Noreen, if you're out there, if you could do the roll call, please.
Surely. Chairman Payne,
Here.
Commissioner Claffey,
Here.
Commissioner Haggerty,
Here.
Commissioner Havens,
Here.
Commissioner Linares,
Here.
Commissioner Trister,
Here.
Commissioner Woods,
Here.
Commissioner Droz,
Here.
Commissioner Fox,
Here.
Commissioner Pascarelli.
Gia called me and she's excused. She had a conflict. Okay, thank you, Noreen.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, we have approval of the agenda. I don't think there's any changes. Okay,
So this is just a pretty much parliamentary matter on how it's done. So we have an item under new business petition 18-23. It's normally the process of the TPZ to move new business to old business. And we have that pre-populated. So staff recommends the addition of item E, following item D, of course, under old business. So that would be item E, petition 1823, site plan modification for a parking lot expansion at 65 Holmes Road, and then the rest of the description to add that under old business.
very good. We will add that then if there's no objection. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, we're at public participation. Anybody willing to, within the Zoom application, please raise your hand if you'd like to participate during public participation. If calling in the Zoom meeting by telephone, *9 to raise your hand to be recognized, or use *6 recognized by the speak by the telephone. State your name and address. If there's anybody in the room that would like to speak. You have anybody online?
Online, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, if there's nobody coming forward, then we're gonna go to our public hearing, petition 15-23. But before we do that, I'm gonna ask the secretary to read the procedures for our public hearing.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Procedures for public hearings. The order of proceedings at public hearings shall be as follows. A, convening by chairperson. B, reading of the notice by the commission secretary or a commissioner designated by the chairperson to act in their stead. C, presentation by applicant. D, town planner report on the application. E, persons wishing to speak in favor of the application, limited to 3 minutes per person. F, persons wishing to speak in opposition to the application, limited to 3 minutes per person. G, rebuttal by the applicant, limited to 5 minutes total. During a public hearing, it shall be within the discretion of the chairperson whether the time limitations should be varied slightly, provided the commission consents to any such variance by a majority vote.
Very good, thank you very much. And Commissioner Woods, would you read the first petition, petition 15-23, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Petition 15-23, special permit, section 6.2.5, freestanding sign at 300 Hartford Avenue. Applicant contact Shadi Kessing, owner 300 Hartford Avenue LLC.
It's here, if you come forward, maybe tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do. Thank you. Good evening.
I'm here for artifacts and Avenue. Like to put a freestanding sign on the property. Originally, your setback was 15 feet from the road, but I was informed that that was a state road which has a right of way 20 feet setback. And we do have site plans that indicate the 15 feet setback and the 20 feet setback.
And that is up on the screen as well. If I might add, just part of the issue here was we do not have a current survey for the property that shows the building or anything. So we just wanted to make the property owner aware that that sign has to be completely on private property and not within the right of way. So that's why they pushed it back an additional 5 feet at this point.
So before they install it, they still have to, you're recommending to have a survey done before any installation, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any questions for the applicant or for the town staff? We're gonna go to the public, just, thank you very much. Is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of the application? Anybody online wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Anybody online wishing to speak in opposition?
No one online, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody wishing to speak just in general, not in favor or not against, but just to speak to this? Okay, hearing none, I would recommend the closing of petition 15-23 and moving it to old business. Can I entertain that motion?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our next public hearing is petition 16-23. If the vice chairman could read that, I'd appreciate it.
Petition 16-23, special permit, section 3.15.3, a restaurant, table, or counter service at 26 Fen Road, also known as 36 Fen Road. Applicant Arif Pal and Basit Ali, owner Hayes Kaufman Newington Associates LLC. Contact Arif Pal.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
If you could come forward and fill us in a little bit.
Hi. So we're making our application to open a licensed location for Shalakalal Food at the franchise out of Queens, New York. In my narrative that they've opened a number of locations in Connecticut and Stanford, Norwalk, and Orange. And since the time we filed a permit to this area today, they've opened 2 other locations, one in Middletown and one in Bridgeport. So we have our agreement with them to open, to bring this to Crawford County, and after a lot of discussion with the franchisor and testing a number of locations, we have the whole team on board to open at 26 Fen Road. We have our lease worked out with the landlord, Hayes Kaufman, and our goal is here to open a sit-down restaurant with seating capacity in the 25 to 35 people range. And you know, we hope we get consent from the commission and we can have some more value.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll go to a staff report.
Yeah, so staff finds this in general compliance with the shopping center. It was noted in the staff report that because it is a shopping center, all parking is considered holistically for whatever uses that go in there. Again, we've never seen that shopping center completely full. I think there's plenty of capacity within it. And again, staff finds that a restaurant does fit within that with the existing restaurants that are there, especially with its proximity to CCSU. Staff recommends that the special permit be approved.
Very good. Is there any questions for staff or the applicant? Was there a restaurant in this spot previously?
This is where the Weight Watchers was, right at the very end of the plaza. In doing the research, I didn't see a restaurant there in the past.
Okay. Very good, but there is ample parking there at this plaza, so I don't see any problem. We will go to the public now to see if, since this is a public hearing, is there anybody, thank you very much. Is there anybody either online or here in the room that would like to speak in favor of the application? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition, either online or here? Okay, hearing that there's no one in the public wishing to speak, I would recommend that we close petition 16-23 and move it to old business for action.
Second.
Motion made
Second?
and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next petition for public hearing is petition 17-23. If Commissioner Lenars, if you could read that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Petition 1723, special permit, section 6.2.5, for a freestanding sign at 550 Cedar Street, applicant and owner DPI LLC, contact Dan Montanaro.
Commission. I'm civil engineer at Albert Management Company representing API LLC, also known as the co-partners, owner and applicant of this site. We are proposing to change the entrance sign from a larger stone fascia sign to a smaller 2-gram post sign with a polyvinyl wooden sign, which is about 12 square feet. 17 square feet on the grand post inside. In about the same location, signs not illuminated, and it's a reduction.
You have the location, Matt?
See, it's a little small, it's shown down on the bottom right of the drive.
Okay. Almost behind the guardrail and everything there. How high does it stand up? Does that say, was it 3 feet? 3 feet off the ground? Anything from the staff?
So staff has reviewed it, find it compliant with the zoning regulations. I've also reviewed it with the town engineer. The applicant did provide a sightline on their plans, and the town engineer has reviewed that and does not see any sightline issues with the proposal.
Okay. Any questions from staff, from commissioners for staff? Yes, Commissioner Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Was there an approved sign here prior to this?
Correct. If you go back to the previous PDF, sign, if you scroll to the top right, it will show the previously approved sign.
Actually, I like the new one better. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the new one is nicer looking.
Yeah, I don't remember approving that, but we must have.
Yep.
It's a while ago.
I believe it was part of the site plan application. I was looking for the specific approval. I didn't necessarily see one specifically noted, but it was part of the overall site plan application.
I think,
Usually do them separately. don't
right,
they?
I believe they just showed it as what their intent was, and they were told, when the time comes, you will need to get your separate special
That makes
permit.
more sense now. Okay.
Mhm. Any other questions? Very good. Thank you very much. We'll go to the public. Is there anybody either online or in the room that would like to speak in favor of this application? Anybody online or in the room speaking in favor? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition, either online or in the room? Hearing none, if there's no objection, I would propose that we, a motion to close petition 17-23 and move it to old business for action.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Woods. Do I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Commissioner Havens. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
One thing before we move on, somebody texted me and said they are unable to hear the applicants. Is the microphone not turned on or?
Green, then red and green again, so that might.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you.
And the next public hearing is petition 20-23. If Commissioner Haggerty, if you could read that, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Petition 20-23, zoning regulation text amendment pertaining to section 3.13, special permits allowed in business town center business zone. Add section 3.13.7, accessory drive-throughs, accessory use to a restaurant, bank, pharmacy, and laundromat. Applicant, Newington TPZ. Contact Paul Dixon.
Okay. Very good. I'll turn this over to our staff.
Before we get in, I just want to into it. I'd like to highlight what you can see up on the screen there. Again, this is our zoning map. You can see that kind of the medium purple that's indicated on there. That is the business town center zone that is subject to this text regulation. So you can just kind of see the area that this pertains to. So the subject zoning regulation, again, pertains to the business town center zone. The proposed regulation was created through an iterative process with the Town Plan and Zoning Commission at multiple meetings through August and September. Site development applications within this zone are governed by the zoning regulations, which is the BTC zone, which includes site plan, special exception, and specific architectural requirements as part of section 3.12A, the Town Center Village Overlay District. So the business town center currently has 9 drive-throughs that have been approved to accessory bank, pharmacy, and laundromat uses. The proposed regulation by special permit would codify specific requirements for any proposed drive-through while allowing existing drive-throughs to be used in their current configuration in the event of a change of use, provided that they adhere to the regulations regarding vehicular and pedestrian impact and safety, site compatibility, and auditory impact on adjacent residential uses. So what I would like to do is move into the regulation itself to kind of show those who are watching along. Again, this is the business town center zone. This is a copy of the regulation that was submitted to the clerk's office. And again, this is the business town center zone. Again, the overall start, talking about the zone, the special permit uses in that zone. And then we move through to 3.13.7, which is the subject new regulation. So as part of this, the purpose of this, the regulation of the sections are intended to allow for drive-through facilities as an accessory use by special permit while reducing the negative impacts they may create. The specific purpose of this section are to reduce noise and visual impacts on abutting uses, particularly residential uses, promote safer and more efficient on-site vehicular and pedestrian circulation, and reduce conflicts between queued vehicles and traffic on adjacent streets. Again, drive-throughs are permitted by special permit as an accessory use to a restaurant, bank, pharmacy, and laundromat, provided the following criteria are complied with. Criteria A, restaurants with an accessory drive-through must include indoor service. Restaurants are encouraged to add outdoor seating and walk-up windows where feasible. B, the applicant shall submit a traffic impact analysis report describing existing and projected traffic volumes, ADT, AM, and PM peaks, volume of customers per hour, stacking lane length needed for the anticipated volume of drive-through vehicles, turning movements, roadway capacity, and level of service of nearby streets, and other information deemed necessary by the commission. C, drive-throughs shall be located behind and screened by the principal building and must be positioned to minimize conflicts with doorways and pedestrians. In the event of a change of use, the commission may allow an existing drive-through approved prior to the adoption of this regulation to be utilized in its current configuration, provided that the drive-through meets the requirements of section 3.13 and provides adequate landscape screening with a minimum height of 3 feet. D, Driveway entrance and egress locations shall be located to prevent conflicts with intersections and vehicular and pedestrian circulation. The commission may limit the number of driveways with adjacent properties and/or inter-property driveway connections when the reduction of curb cuts is deemed to improve safety. E, drive-through service order intercoms must be located to minimize impact on adjacent uses. If the intercom is located within 100 feet of any adjacent residential structure, the applicant shall submit a sound study that identifies sound levels and adverse impacts. And F, the applicant shall submit an application for a special exception permit modification for a site with an accessory drive-through approved pursuant to section 3.13, which shall include a traffic impact analysis report per criteria B if any of the following occur. A, expansion of 20% or more of the gross floor area, and B, change of use of the primary building. So that is the regulation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll go to questions from commissioners for staff. Does anybody have any questions?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
Actually, two of them. For the town planner. I don't remember, well, I thought I'd seen some language in previous drafts about having access to Cedar Street. Is that?
Correct. Through the chair at the last meeting or one prior to that, the commission went through the regulations and that one was removed.
Fair enough. The second one, I don't remember hearing about laundromats. Was that also at the last meeting?
I believe that has been carried through. Again, that was looking at the historic uses that has been approved within that zone.
Right, this the Santander Bank site was originally approved as a drive-through dry clean, drop-off pickup service.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, we will go to the public. Is there anybody in the public or online wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition to this application, either online or here? Anybody that just have a comment at all concerning it? Hearing none, I would recommend that we have a motion to close petition 20-23 and move to old business for action.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have a motion and seconded by Commissioner Woods. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is approval of minutes. We have approval of minutes from meeting September 13th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion. So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Trista. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Havens. Is there any discussion on any corrections for the minutes? Does anybody have any corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next thing on our agenda is our new business. First petition 18-23. Commissioner Havens, if you could read that, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Petition 18-23, site plan modification for a parking lot expansion at 65 Holmes Road. Applicant BGI, owner HMC Real Estate Partners LLC. Contact Alan Bongiovanni.
If I may, and it's a little out of normal order, but if I could display some photos, I just want to kind of orient the commission to the site. Many people may know, but if you go to the next one. So again, very zoomed out aerial for, but you can see kind of that red pin in the middle of 65 Holmes Avenue, Cedar Street at the bottom, Fenn Road, and Route 9, just to give you kind of a global view of where we're looking at. Again, it's off of Fenn Road, Holmes Road. So if you go to the next slide, just to give you, bird's eye view of this property, that is 65 Holmes Road. The subject area is highlighted in red. And I have just a couple site photos to orient the commission. So this one was taken on a wet day. Of course, we've had a lot of those lately. Again, this is the grass area. That's the subject of the application for the 45 space parking lot. And we can just kind of go through these. You can see the sycamores in the front. This is again from behind that area. You can see it's a very level area of the site with a flagpole pretty much in the middle of it. A couple more photos just so you get an idea of what it looks like out on the ground on this site prior to the presentation. And again, those are the sycamore trees that are in the front. And again, it's just a larger grass area, very level.
Now, are those being taken out or are they being?
Present, but they're proposed to be preserved.
Okay.
And that's staff definitely recommends that. They're beautiful trees.
Didn't we not just, but within the last year, approve a modification to, I guess it would be the eastern side?
Correct.
Okay.
2022, a site plan was reviewed for that. And just what I'll add for the commission's information that, yes, this is in an industrial zone and all adjacent parcels are also zoned industrial.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
The applicant is online as well to make a presentation.
Does the applicant have anything else that you'd like to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. For the record, my name is Alan Bongiovanni, 170 Payne Road here in Newington. I'm a licensed land surveyor in the state of Connecticut, representing 65 Homes Investment Partners LLC in the application before you. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, Alan, you can.
Oh, there we go.
As the town planner correctly pointed out, about 90% of this site was approved for a reconfiguration of the parking area in June of 2022. The northwest corner, the area that is the subject of this application, is a grassed area. The occupants of the building were the applicant for the reconfiguration of the parking lot last year. In consultation with the owner, they requested if they could expand the parking lot in this area, which is 45 spaces, which will allow them flexibility and seasonal hiring, things like that. This is car parking. This is not truck parking out front, but it is for regular automobiles. And it will provide them flexibility throughout the year when their shifts change. Maybe they have around the holidays, a second shift for deliveries, things like that. So this will provide them that added flexibility. We designed the site so that it has a storm drainage system. Harking back to the LID days, it is a drainage system that will encourage infiltration of any stormwater into the ground during periods of the year when we don't have a high water table. This is a very high water table in this area. And then it'll exit out to the storm system, be treated and exit out to the storm system in Holmes Road. This is the former Sears warehouse site. We did receive staff comments. We had no objection to any of those comments. And since we received those, we actually responded, provided the town with revised drawings to reflect the suggestions that were made in those comments. But we designed the drainage system. We're maintaining the trees in front. On the site itself, we've got required landscaping within the islands. There will be one small change. There's 2 ornamental trees currently along the driveway, the existing driveway in. They happen to be within an MDC easement. Those will be removed as part of this because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. But, you know, we intend to protect the sycamores in front. And I think this is a nice addition to allow the highest and best use of the property. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for the applicant? Very good. Thank you very much, Ellen. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, I have just a little bit to add.
yes, sir.
So again, there's the three sycamores are existing. Staff also reviewed on the side of the property that abuts, I believe, and I just lost the name of that road, Hollow Tree Lane. So there's currently a vegetated buffer that has, it's kind of a shrub buffer with silky dogwood, Canadian goldenrod, so it's a little bit of meadowy and brush. So that already exists on that side. It may benefit from a little bit of cleaning up, but that's normal maintenance and not necessarily part of the application. So due to the proposed grading and the requirement for the underground stormwater system, the proposed parking entrance actually, as proposed to the south, actually provides that larger area over the MDC easement, which actually provides a larger amount of green space. So staff does approve and appreciate that design. And the only items that are kind of remaining, and unfortunately I didn't get a chance to talk to Mr. Bongiovanni beforehand, pretty much all the staff items were addressed, except staff would just recommend there are two southern islands that have room potentially for additional trees, that either potentially a sycamore to kind of work with that in the larger area, because that's how the design is of the whole site. So actually, Alan, can you bring up your site again?
Can you see it?
Yes. Yep. So again, kind of, yeah, either in that island right there and then the other island across, there are other opportunities. The zoning regulation does say that these these islands should be treed. It's part of Heat Island, it's part of beautification, it's kind of part of all of it. So that's something that staff would ask the commission to consider. The other item, the electrical was shown as far as it connecting to existing light posts. But in speaking with the town engineer, we just had a question regarding where the electrical connection was to it. So those would be the only remaining staff comments, again, to the potential regarding additional planting of trees and the clarification of the location of the electrical service to the underground lighting. Other than that, staff finds the proposal compliant with the regulations.
Okay, very good. Mr. Bongiovanni, would you like to? Go right ahead.
The applicant has no issue with adding some additional trees, as the planner suggested. With regards to the electrical and the routing of the site lighting, that's actually a piggyback onto the site plan that was approved last year. All of that work has not been done and installed, but we're gonna actually come from an existing a lighting by others. This is a new light pole in this area, just south of the parking area, and that circuitry will be designed as part of the installation on the rest of the site.
Okay, very good. As far as the trees, I don't know if the two islands that you suggested there next to the entrance to go into the parking lot seem like they're kind of small for trees. Whether or not they should be next to the property line or the space closest to the building looks like a larger space there. But I'll revert to my expert. Commissioner Woods, what do you think the best location for those sycamore trees? Would you be moving the existing trees out?
No, Mr. Chairman, the intention is to leave the three sycamore trees where they are. Because we're actually raising the grade about 1.5 feet. At the center one, we're proposing a 1.5 feet, 2 foot high little block tree well to protect that so we don't suffocate the base of the tree. But those are going to remain. We feel very comfortable that they're going to survive and
I was referring to the two that are in the MDC right away that you have to remove. They're too big to move. Is that correct?
It's not so much too big to remove. They're an ornamental tree. They're either an apple or a cherry that haven't been pruned well, and probably better off just replacing them.
Okay.
We can take those trees, what we had there, and put them in some of the other islands, but we're happy to work with the planner.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Woods.
The only suggestion, Alan, I'd make is the choice of trees is not good. The flowering plum, not a great tree for that particular spot. Just change it out if you want to use an ornamental, go with a cherry, an ornamental cherry. Upright cherry, it'll look much better and last much longer. The plum is gonna last 5 to 7, maybe 10 years tops.
Thank you for your expertise. We'll definitely make that change.
Very good. Is there any other questions from commissioners? Thank you, Commissioner Woods. Is there anything else?
I just want, how are we leaving this with the two islands? Are we gonna ask the applicant to put them in those two islands? And again, if you do that, I would suggest that, like a dogwood or something like that, go with an ornamental tree, something that's not gonna get real big.
Yeah, that's why I was concerned. They're not very big islands.
Does that make you happy?
Yeah, that's perfectly
Alan,
fine.
you have a problem with that? Adding two
No,
dogwoods?
the applicant's fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from commissioners? All right, very good. Thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we're gonna go to old business now. And our first petition is petition 15-23, if I could have a motion.
Petition 15-23, special permit, section 6.2.5 for freestanding sign at 300 Hartford Avenue. Applicant contact Shadi Kessing, owner 300 Hartford Avenue LLC. Motion to approve. Move to approve petition 15-23 with the following conditions. 1, prior to installation of the sign, the property shall be surveyed by a licensed land surveyor and a plan submitted to the ZEO to ensure that the sign is installed on private property. 2, upon completion of the installation, an as-built survey of the location shall be provided to the town. Reason for approval: the proposed application with conditions is compliant with the town of Newington zoning regulations.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Havens. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Haggerty. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Good luck. Our next petition is petition 16-23. Commissioner Trista, would you like to handle that?
Sure. Petition 16-23, special permit section 3.15.3, a restaurant, table or counter service at 26 Fen Road, AKA 36 Fen Road. Applicant Arif Pal and Basit Ali, owner Hayes Kaufman Newington Associates LLC. Contact Arif Pal. Motion to approve. Move to approve special permit petition 16-23 for a restaurant at 26 Fen Road. Reason for approval: the proposed application is compliant with the town of Newington zoning regulations in sections 3.15.3 and 5.2.
Very
Second,
good.
Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Trista, and we have a second from Commissioner Woods. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Good luck. Thank you. Okay, our next petition would be petition 17-23. If Commissioner Claffey, would you like to handle that, please?
Petition 17-23, special permit, section 6.2.5 for freestanding sign at 550 Cedar Street. Applicant owner DPI LLC. Contact Dan Montanaro. Motion to approve. Move to approve special permit section 17-23 for a freestanding sign at 550 Cedar Street. Reason for approval: the proposed application is compliant with the town of Newington zoning regulations in section 6.25 and 5.2.
Thank you very much. We have a motion on the table from Commissioner Claffey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Havens. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the next one would be petition 20-23. If I could entertain Commissioner Lenars.
Petition 20-23 zoning regulation text amendment pertaining to section 3.13, special permits allowed in BTC Business Town Center Zone. Add section 3.13.7 accessory drive-throughs, accessory use to a restaurant, bank, pharmacy, and laundromat. Application Newington TPZ, contact Paul Dixon.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Motion to find regulation consistent with the plan of conservation and development. Move to find petition 20-23 consistent with the POCD. Motion to approve petition 20-23 with an effective date October 10th, 2023.
Motion by Commissioner Lenars on the table. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Havens. Any discussion?
When did we ever talk about the POCD with this? I thought it was just a text amendment for
I think
approval.
I think I'll let the staff answer it, but I think he goes through the POCD when he looks at the applications. But I'll have staff address it.
And what's required, again, because the town plan and zoning commission is acting as both. The standard procedure, if when they're separate, is a zoning, it gets sent to the planning commission sends that finding back. The requirement is actually for when reading, what's required to have that finding of compliance and approval of it. So I think the motion as read is a dual motion, providing it's, that it's compliant with the POCD and that it's approved with that effective date.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
Abstaining.
Motion carries with one abstention. Okay, the next petition under old business would be petition 18-23, Commissioner Haggerty.
Petition 18-23, site plan modification for a parking lot expansion at 65 Holmes Road. Applicant BGI, owner HMC Real Estate Partners LLC, contact Alan Bongiovanni. Motion to approve with conditions. Move to approve the site plan modification petition 18-23 for a parking lot expansion at 65 Holmes Road with the following conditions. 1, modify the site plan to address staff comments regarding planting additional trees in the southern islands and clarification of the location of the electrical service for the proposed site lighting. 2, a drainage agreement will be required to be filed for the connection into the town storm drainage system on Holmes Road. 3, an as-built survey will be required upon completion of the project. 4, a drainage certification signed by a Connecticut licensed PE will be required upon completion of the project. Reason for approval: the proposed application meets the criteria of section 5.3 of the Newington zoning regulations.
Okay, we have a motion on the table by Commissioner Haggerty. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Havens. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we are at the next thing on our agenda is petitions for public hearing scheduling. I'll ask the town staff if he has anything he'd like to discuss on that.
None at this moment.
Right, then we'll go right into the next thing on the agenda is the town planner's report.
Okay, so the typical first item, of course, the current land use applications for those who go through our agenda. On the agenda, you can always click on that link and see what's current, including the materials. From there, I'd like to provide a update on the car wash on Fen Road. So the owner's engineer is meeting with the DOT this week for a pre-construction meeting. The engineer has previously coordinated a meeting with the MDC. The work requires connection with coordination with the DOT in regards to Meyer Cohen Way and the CT Fast Track Station. There are actually two separate entities within DOT that have to be coordinated with. These are the final steps to bring the project over the finish line, and they're being worked out between the property owner's engineer and the DOT and the MDC, and the town engineer is keeping apprised of the progress. He's actually been pushing along and asking what's the status of it. So Chris has been doing a good job on that. The next item, and I can start bringing up pictures, is 3333 Berlin Turnpike. So progress is continuing on the project, and there has been a lot of activity on site. It's our understanding that the main loop for the water is in place and is in the process of being tested. Understand it was pressure tested, filled with the chlorine, and it's going through that process now. The residential side of the project is progressing with insulation, and I'll get to that when we show the pictures of the insulation for the 3rd and 4th floor of building 1. The shell is complete for building 2, and rust will be conducted in the near future. From there, the commercial building, including the grocery tenant, are expected to be asking for sign off on the shell in the near future. That's the step that's required prior to fit out. So the certificate of completeness for the shell, fit out, and then from there, CO. So that's including the grocery tenant. And actually, and I'll go through that. So what I'd like to go through, if you go back to the first picture, please. So as you can see, there's already some asphalt being placed down. This is the entrance. They've done half of it. Again, as they're moving trucks in and out, they want to, keep half of it open, not to disturb it beyond a reasonable amount. The sidewalks are in, going that. If you go to the next. So from the last meeting, what has been done is some significant improvement in the area of the grocery tenant in the main parking lot. As you can see, site lighting is in. As we know, the drainage system was in, and all of the clean outs are there. And then they've actually paved, and they're installing curbs. So they're making good progress on this site. It's good to see it, beyond just open and dirt at this point. Go from there. So this is one of the buildings. This is the current tenant fit out. So one building already, of course, has the shell then done, and then they're in the process of the tenant fit out. So again, tile going up, progress happening. It's good to see on this site. Again, someone actually starting to move into the spaces and get them going. From there, you can see just the additional building on the site. Everything's pretty closed up. Progress is moving along. We don't have any fit outs for that building yet. And just to highlight the residential. So that would be building 1. They can see that's the one where roughs are been done and insulation is in progress. So they're in progress on that. Building 2. Next to it, again, continuing progress on that site. As I noted too, that the shell is complete and roughs are going to be conducted in the near future. And then the last picture would be building 3. Currently foundation, the towers are going in, and then you can see some of the resident garages that have been built in the background there as well. So there's progress taking place on site. We've also met, me and the town engineer have met with the site superintendent and the engineers out there regarding just reviewing again the drainage system, leaving the site. That was a part of a condition of approval. So we're in the process of working with them, and we're kind of going from there. Again, there's a lot of activity out on the site. I think when we were out there, there was about 4 or 5 areas that were open, being dug, utilities going in. So it seems like they're making good progress. So on the next property, so that's Payne Road, the Pike. As you see, the half of building A is completely roughed with insulation underway. The rest of the buildings, as you see, are still in the progress of being built. You can kind of cycle through this from the back of the site. You see they have some of the curbing being done. They're starting to work on some of the site work as they're finishing up the buildings. Kind of cycle through again. This is kind of just a different view. Same to the right was that area of the parking lot. You kind of see the courtyard area, parking between the buildings, or courtyard area between the buildings, kind of how it's situated. And I apologize for the lens flare, just with the time of day. But as you can see, that's the building closest to the road that is completely roughed with insulation underway, and the rest of them are in progress. So that site is starting to move along. Those are the two major site development sites that have actually had good progress and work going on. Of course, the swim school is still happening on Payne Road, but there hasn't been much to show since then. And the engineer also provided me an update on the Robbins Ave streetscape project. So a pre-paving meeting for that is scheduled tomorrow with the contractor. From there, dates will be worked out based on availability. When those dates are figured out, paving is expected to be about a week in duration, depending on the weather. From then, after paving, the sidewalk and the landscaping in the Main Street Island will soon after follow. Additional trees are planned for the Main Street and Thompson Green areas from the plan. And as of now, the expected substantial completion is November 1st. So that's just to provide an update on what's going on. But again, it's the pre-paving meeting is tomorrow, and more information about timing will be released after that is held. So that is my update for tonight.
Very good. Any questions for the town planner?
Well, there was,
A grant for the New Britain Avenue business area. We've still been able to maintain that grant. We didn't lose it, did we?
Correct. Yeah, there's no indications from the state of them withdrawing grants.
Okay, that's good to hear. Is there any progress on that?
Me and the town engineer are again looking at all the past options that have been gone through with discussions that the previous town engineer had with the business district, trying to come up with a couple alternatives to present to the business. Just to add on that one too, that we have sent out on the north, the Stoddard, Hartford and Maine area of Bayanis. We have sent out notices with the proposed plan to those owners, and we're starting to be contacted on that. We're working with them before final plans as well. So we're hoping to, again, run these in tandem would be the idea, and something should be sent out shortly to the Southern Business District.
And you'll have that presented to us, possibly. What is it going through review right now?
Yeah, it's going through review. Again, we're discussing with the stakeholders, making adjustments. There's a lot of concerns regarding curb cuts, access to the business, and we're kind of working with all those stakeholders.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
The Main Street Hartford Avenue and Stoddard Avenue, is it just the street upscape, like an enhancement with sidelights? No, they're not redoing the road configuration at all. Right?
No, the only potential changes are just curb line changes. There's some areas where medians were taken out. There's some areas where curb needs to replace sidewalk. It's kind of your typical pedestrian scale lighting standards, sidewalk replacement, looking at access management, but not replacing or not changing the geometry of the road, not a signal project, not of that scale.
And one more question, back to Robbins Avenue. Does that intersection get fixed at all or no? Robbins Avenue in Maine. So Robbins, East Robbins in Maine.
Yeah, so if you've probably seen it, they're taking the knob down. They're gonna be doing some, I think it's more of a dedicated right turn lane off of Robbins now onto Maine. And I don't remember what the final plans were, but they're doing. They're not tweaking the whole intersection, but stuff on that corner specifically.
If you're on Robbins heading west, if you don't live in the town of Newington, you don't know how to use that intersection correctly. And it's like a suicide lane.
Yeah, I don't know how well that'll end up getting improved. I know the bus shelter's gonna move as
I see the
well.
bus shelter's been moved. Yeah, and they added the right turn lane. I just hope that we could fix that because people get very confused there. I'm surprised there's not more accidents.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Commissioner Fox?
Thank you, if I may. Paul, I'm getting a lot of questions on Facebook about Robbins Avenue. You know, the complete, town engineer have anything that he can tell them as far as length and what it's gonna look like? I know, I think it was, I forget who it was that was talking about there would be no lines or whatever.
Yeah, so I don't have the plans with me, and of course, he's not here tonight. He just kind of wanted to give me an update on progress. So people had an idea of timeline, because I know there were some questions about that of when is this progressing? When is this getting paved? Is anything happening? You know, those are kind of the questions that are out there. What I can make sure I do is talk to the town engineer, make sure that those plans are available on the website. They should be as well. But there might be an opportunity to provide some more communication. Again, it should be soon. Some people will see actually what it's going to look like. But if people want to look like, see what it looks like proposed on the plans, I'll make sure that those links are up and available for people to look at, and that they're kind of prominently displayed.
I did mention, probably a couple of people that called me, that there should be the plans on the website, but you know, that the website is still not very user friendly. So thank you.
Will that be completed this year?
Yes, as I said, the town engineer, November, I think it said November 1st.
Substantial completion.
Substantial completion. And again, that's
They're moving
depending on the
along.
weather. I always got to put the asterisk when it comes to construction that's the anticipated, because I'm hoping for some more dry weather in the weeks to come.
Me too.
All right.
Also, Eversource has got they've set the new pole, but they haven't switched the wires over yet. Thompson Green.
Yeah.
Right, so we're at their mercy on that one.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from commissioners? Next thing on the agenda is communications. We have the CROG letters. Does anybody have any questions concerning the CROG letters for staff? Hearing none, we're gonna go to public participation. If there's anybody on Zoom or here in person would like to speak, please come forward.
Somebody online has their hand up.
Go right ahead to them, and
Okay,
you could still come forward if you'd like, Bob.
go ahead, Rose.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. First of all, I'd like to thank Eric again for answering some questions for me this week that I saw pop up on Facebook, and instead of listening to what was going on there, I went directly to him. Had I had Paul's email correct, he would have gotten my questions this week, but now that I've got the right spelling of his last name, get ready, Paul, I'm coming for you. The thing I wanted to do, first of all, is apologize for last time around when I spoke at the end of the public participation regarding Amy Berubie's application. I broke the rules in speaking then, so I apologize for that, but I thank you for listening to me. I was unable to get in during public participation on the text amendments because I was watching on NCTV because it's easier on my eyes and trying to listen on my phone through the Zoom application. I'm just wondering if and when we're ever going to have a landline to be able to call in on, because NCTV is like 2 minutes behind the Zoom. So it's a delayed thing. So I wasn't able to get in because I feel as though, as far as these text amendments, and this is just my own personal opinion, when it has to do with something that involves a neighborhood or an area such as the center, I myself would feel more comfortable getting my thoughts together, even though I've followed what was going on. I had a question about the laundromat question too. But anyway, in any case, I think people should have a second chance to come, and if they couldn't make tonight's meeting, I know it's all put out there that there's a public hearing and so forth and so on, but I was just wondering if in the future going forward you might give some consideration to when it's an important thing like this, which I think this is, that it be given a second chance. As far as signs and small things like that, I see no reason to not close it and bring it to old business, but it just seems like things like that shouldn't be rushed through as much as they should. And I thank you tonight for talking about the various projects and things that are happening around town, because as Commissioner Fox stated, there's a lot of talk on Facebook about when's this going to be done, when's that going to be done. I sure wish that the town website had some sort of a frequently asked questions section that people could ask about this, because you're getting the brunt of it. The TPZ is getting the brunt of this for what's not being done here, and they don't realize we've had 2 town engineers in a couple of years. We've had 2 town planners, 3 town planners probably in 5 years, and a lot's going on. But I thank you for what you're trying to do, and hopefully somehow we can get the word out to the public that don't pay attention to what's going on at these meetings. But I thank you for discussing it, so at least I know what's happening. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bob?
Evening, Chairman. Bob Tallard. Paul, you answered most of my questions, and Steve and Michael. Because every time I drive by the car wash and East Robbins, my wife asked me, what's going on there? What's going on there? But you answered everything, and you've got a tough job to try and explain all this because it's kind of crazy. But if you could just keep us posted on what's going on there, because my wife, every time, like I said, we drive by there, what's going on there? Well, I'll go to the meeting, I'll try and find out. So I'm just asking, just keep us posted on those things like the car wash and so forth. That's all. That's it, because I know, I was talking to the chief, I had a meeting with him about 2 weeks ago, and he brought those 2 things up to me, so. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak under public participation, either online or?
I don't see anyone else online, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Hearing none. We'll go to remarks by commissioners, if any commissioners have any remarks. I'll thank everybody. We had a very good meeting. I want to thank the staff and thank NCTV. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made. All those in favor? Aye. Very good. Good night, everybody.
Good job, Mr. Chairman.